Hello and welcome to another episode of Pakistani Profile. My guest for today is a very interesting man. He had no doubt given a completely new meaning to the Pakistan music industry. He was an actor, a singer, a writer. Let's welcome Salman Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Welcome to our show, Salman.
Great to be on your
Great to
show.
have you here.
Thank you.
Right. Salman, talking about your childhood first. Tell me, you coming from Lahore, how was your childhood? Because Lahore is known for a very rich culture. So tell me about your childhood.
Well, the cultural capital of Pakistan, and when I was growing up in Lahore, you couldn't escape music, poetry,
True.
dance,
True.
theatre,
True.
and obviously cricket.
Yeah.
There's a saying in Lahore, in Punjabi, "Jinne Lahore nahi vekhya, wo jammya hi nahi."
True. That's
Which means basically that if you haven't seen Lahore, you haven't lived.
Right.
So I grew up in a city just surrounded with
love for arts and love for music and all this stuff.
and also gender equality. I grew up in a family where the women, very, very strong-minded women. My mother, my grandmother, my khalas, working women, educated women. So I grew up with a sort of a healthy respect for women from a very, very young age.
Yeah. So how did that help you as a child and while you were growing up?
It helped me in this way that in the house there was a great culture of debate. Like if you had a view about something, you couldn't say कि मैंने कह दिया, That's what I think. So you needed to convince the other person with an argument, with a logical argument.
It was always a debate.
So and as the women in my family, I found to be much more rational, logical.
Right. Okay, Salman, talking about you as a singer, how did you manage to get into singing, choosing it as your profession? Was that in your, you had this like from your childhood, or you eventually developed?
So like I said, I grew up with music. My earliest memory of music is 6 years old. There was a family wedding, and that used to happen in backyards, not in community centers.
Right.
So there was a Qawwali evening, right? The first time I remember listening to music was a Qawwali evening, and Dam Mas Kalandar was being performed, right?
A very powerful song.
Really powerful. It got into my heart. And the other thing what I liked about Qawwali was that all the people were throwing money at the musicians.
Right.
So I thought that's a good job.
You were earning money out of it, no doubt.
It's not a bad job to have. So my family moved to the States when I was 11, and I tell this story in my book, RocknRoll Jihad, that what changed me was this concert of Led Zeppelin that I saw. I saw Jimmy Page playing a two-headed guitar, He was playing a song called Kashmir, right?
Right.
It just blew my mind, and I thought I'd like to buy a musical instrument. But when I went and told this to my parents, you get two choices for a career if you grow up as a Pakistani. Doctor and
engineer.
Doctor. Mine was doctor and doctor.
Okay.
So they said, okay, this is only a hobby. Your real, serious, respectable job is being a doctor. So when I started getting really good on guitar, I was sent back to Pakistan to study medicine.
Oh, God. So then, what did you do?
Well, okay, so what I did was that we were under military dictatorship in Pakistan, General Ziaul Haq. It was like having the Taliban in power. Okay, because you couldn't play, especially not rock guitar.
Right.
Couldn't go anywhere and play rock guitar.
Right.
So we would organize secret gigs, concerts, in dorms, in people's basements. We had hip aunties and uncles who'd like to listen to music, so we used to go play for them. And this is how the counterculture movement in Pakistan started. And initially with bands like Eastern Winds, Direct Action, and then later Vital Signs.
Yeah.
That's how I got into playing music.
The music. Right. You basically belonged to a group, the first ever rock band of Pakistan. How did you guys think of becoming a rock band? Because at that time, pop music was more common.
Yeah.
So why rock?
Okay, so initially, like I said, I was with the Vital Signs.
Right.
And our song Dil Dil Pakistan had become a gigantic hit, which I felt, I had done nothing to deserve, but all of a sudden you were famous in Pakistan. Okay? So when I started thinking about, okay, I've graduated from medical school, I'm playing music, what is it that I want to say through my music? It was through rock music that I wanted to do it. But I found some great opposition in my band, Vital Signs, who were sort of very keyboard based.
Right.
So then I thought that I'd find my own way, and I thought about Junoon. And initially, to be honest with you, we found so much opposition in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Because there was a magazine which did a survey and they voted Junoon the worst band in Pakistan.
In the beginning,
In the beginning, right? So it took 5 to 6 years of perseverance, really slogging to reach to a stage where people accepted you. You know, and I think that's something about Pakistan that I love also, that people just don't, you know,
Just make you stars, no.
No, they want to
first
see if you've got the talent
you,
to do it, right? They want to observe you. The people are very discerning here, right? Except in politics. But but in my field, it is merit based. So 1996, when Jazba Junoon became the theme song of the World Cup, that's changed everything for me.
That changed your life.
Changed my life completely.
Because honestly, all that struggle and the hard work that you had been doing for the past 5 or 6 years before the Jazba Junoon came, I remember like we used to attend every concert that Junoon had. And our parents kept saying, how much of Junoon are you going to hear? And we were like, no, we have to be at the concerts. That's the kind of, you know, the young generation really got into music at that time.
Yeah, there's no end to Junoon.
There was no, and there still isn't any end to Junoon, right? From singing to acting.
Yeah.
Why this switch? What, like you said, okay, I'm a singer, I've done this, now let's try acting at this time?
No, actually, I just left Vital Signs. People were making fun of me. They said this was such a popular group.
And you've left.
Why would you leave something which was so popular?
Right.
You're a hit. This is never going to happen again. So in between that time, Saira Kazmi was doing a play on women's emancipation called Ahat. Okay, so Hasina Moin had written the script. So she said, "Okay, look, I'm looking for a new face. Have you considered acting?" And I had never. Well, I mean, I played myself in Shoaib Mansoor's play Dhundle Raste, right, which was on the Vital Signs. But I had never acted as, you know, as somebody
as a proper actor.
So I said yes, and I jumped off the deep end, and I have to. It gave me a great education in television. You know how to be in front of the camera. 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks grueling. It became a super hit. TV serial, but I realized that my strength is music, you know, or actually my passion is music. Being in front of the camera 24 hours a day is not my gig.
But Salman, you like trying everything until you realize what's your, you know, forte.
Well, you see,
is that the thing?
Look, there's a saying, don't be afraid to embrace uncertainty. Okay, uncertainty. A lot of people are very talented, much more talented perhaps than I am, but the fear of failure paralyzes them. They don't take the chance. They don't jump off and say, "Hoga kya?"
Agreed.
So my thinking was, look, the worst that can happen is that I'll be a huge failure, and then people will forget about it. You know, it's not going to haunt you for the rest of your life. So I'm not afraid of taking chances.
Even if you fail, you know how to get up and step again.
You see, failure teaches you, na?
A lot.
I mean, my life, everything that I take on, I study like a student of, whether I'm a student of singing, or I'm a student of composition, or I'm a student of politics. I want to know as much as I possibly can.
You know, I think the most that you can learn is once you fail. That's the best learning part of your life at that time. Right. Salman, you've also written a book. Tell me more about it. RocknRoll Jihad.
Yeah. So you know, when 9/11 took place, I found that, you know, we'd been touring all over the world.
Right.
And prior to 9/11, each time I was interviewed, it was about Junoon's music. But after 9/11, all the questions internationally, at least in the West or India, were all about how can you be a rock musician and a good Muslim at the same time, you know? And I found out that you couldn't give short sound bites to, these are deep questions.
Very deep questions.
You just can't say, you know, and also, after 9/11, I feel the Muslim world was deeply traumatized. Everybody, you know, there was, if I showed my passport at JF,
all like, the fingers were pointing towards you.
They would say, "Oh, you're a Muslim," you know, your fingerprint. So I realized I need to write a book, which talks about my life, that, you know, how I've been able to be a Muslim. I don't know if I'm a good Muslim or not, but I am a Muslim, right? I think Islam is a great religion, and it's also teaches you, spiritual truths.
Right.
So how do I reconcile those spiritual truths with my rock music?
Right.
That's what this whole book is about, and also about a cross-cultural journey.
Because you had experienced it yourself.
Yeah, I grew up in America, and so I know that culture really well, and I know Pakistan. Obviously.
And then you've also been traveling around a lot and doing a lot of concerts.
All my life.
So tell me about your followership abroad. Like, we do know that Pakistanis are a huge fan of Junoon. How about abroad? What sort of reactions do you get from people abroad?
Yeah, I mean, you see that culture, especially in America where I am, if you're talented, right, people start talking about you.
Yeah.
The media starts building you up. And there is a merit-based system there that if you're good, you'll get known.
Right.
If you work hard and you're focused, you could be a Pakistani, you could be a Muslim, you could be anyone. I mean, the fact that in a country which is had to deal with civil rights, the Civil War, and racism in America, that a black man could become president, means कि फिर भी एक system जो है वहाँ, So in the last 9 years that I was there, I was able to write the book, which got released on Simon & Schuster.
Right.
It's now required reading at Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, right? I've been able to do 3 documentaries, Rockstar and the Mullahs, It's My Country Too, and a recent documentary that I did on, I'm blacking out now. Islamabad Rock City. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, आप click कर देना उस पे.
Right. Okay.
And also, what I love doing is teaching. So I'm teaching 1 day a week.
New York.
At Queen's College,
Right.
music and poetry for Muslim culture.
So you're doing everything that was related to your own profession. Just giving it a new different meaning and a new different look for people, because just you coming from Pakistan doesn't mean that you cannot be a singer, or you being a Muslim. So you kind of changed people's perceptions regarding it through your work.
I think arts and culture is more powerful than guns and bombs.
It sure is.
Because you can change the way people look at people
Right.
through music.
Right.
And I feel fortunate that I'm in a position that I can talk about Pakistan through culture. My wife and I, we have a non-profit organization, SSGWI, which promotes arts and culture, music education, girls education, and we're doing a lot of projects in Pakistan.
So is it based in Pakistan, or it's based in America and you're doing work here?
So we're doing work all over the world. But our projects like the Junoon 20th anniversary is an SSGWI, is a project with EMI.
Okay.
And our goal is this, that through the attention that we bring to this, through the money that we bring in, we're going to help build girls' schools, shelters for the people who lost their homes in the floods. And so this streak, I guess because I went to medical school, is very much tied in with my sort of role as an artist.
Right. So the entire experiences that you have had throughout your life, you're trying to put them to use now.
I hope so. I mean, you can only try to do the best you possibly can.
Right. Salman, you're also the UN Goodwill Ambassador for HIV/AIDS. What's the work that you're doing under the UN banner at the moment, and how is this awareness being created through you?
So in 2001, when Kofi Annan was the Secretary General,
right.
He said, look, you've been through medical school, right, and you're also an artist. Do you want to combine that to raise awareness about HIV and AIDS? And I said, okay, I'll do it.
What better?
So what I found through the UN is that really we are cheerleaders. The people that they get as UN Goodwill Ambassadors were really cheerleaders for the real people.
Right.
One of them, for example, this woman called Shukriya Gul from Lahore, who's HIV positive. The story was that her husband was dying of AIDS. Nobody knew that he had AIDS. It's only when he had full-blown symptoms at the end that people found out, and she found out that, oh my God, that I'm going to be a widow.
Yeah.
So instead of running away, because when her husband died, the entire neighborhood came and said to get out of the neighborhood. They said burn the house down because people didn't have any awareness about how AIDS is, spread.
They considered contagious, right?
So Shukriya, who was in her 30s at that time, put her foot down. She said, I'm staying here, my kids are staying here, and she started an NGO on AIDS awareness.
Okay.
So somebody like me, UN Goodwill Ambassador, met her, was incredibly inspired. I did a song called Alvida,
right.
in which Nadia Jami played Shukriya's role in there.
Yeah.
So as a UN Goodwill Ambassador, what we try to do is identify heroic people, models of success,
and bring them to
and bring them there. And the other thing, obviously, I get a chance to interact with politicians, prime ministers, heads of organizations like Secretary General Ban Ki-moon.
Right.
I was just at the State Department last week, meeting with Ambassador Mark Grossman, telling him that Pakistan and Afghanistan need an end to the war.
They surely do. And through your war. Right, Salman, we're going to end it here. How about a song from you?
Am I going to get paid?
No.
No, okay, that must be an artist.
Right.
Okay. है जज्बा जुनून को हिम्मत है जज्बा जुनून को हिम्मत जुस्तजू जो करे वो छुए आसमान मेहनत अपनी होगी पहचान कभी ना भूलो सबकी नजरों में पाकिस्तान
कभी ना भूलो
पाकिस्तान है हमारा पाकिस्तान है तुम्हारा.
Right, thank you so much, Salman.
You're welcome.
In the end, your message for the nation.
My message is that, look, if you want to see change around you, you have to bring the same change inside of you. जुनून से और इश्क से मिलती है आज़ादी, कुर्बानी की बाहों में मिलती है आज़ादी.
Right, thank you so much, Salman. I guess the message and the song in itself is a whole message to the nation. For more Pakistani profiles, you can visit our website, pakistaniprofiles.com.